Three shadowy figures emerging from the fog, a bloody dagger hovering in the dark, a king driven to madness and murder by his own ambition. We all know the story. But the historical Mac Bethad Mac Finlaich was not a tyrant, and he did not murder an old man in his sleep. The records show a successful 11th century king who ruled for 17 years. His reign was stable enough that in 1050 he traveled to Rome on a pilgrimage that lasted months, leaving his kingdom in the hands of deputies while he scattered money to the poor. This creates a massive gap between the man and the myth. We have a competent, generous ruler whose transformation into a template for paranoid tyranny was engineered by the people who killed him. In the early 1000s, Scotland, or Alba, was a collection of semi-autonomous provinces. Macbeth was the powerful Mormaer, or Earl of Moray, a northern region that maintained its own traditional Celtic laws and royal house. His rival was King Duncan. In fiction, he is a wise, elderly murderer. In reality, Duncan was a young, aggressive king whose failed military campaigns in northern England and Moray made him deeply unpopular with his own nobles. Duncan marched north into Moray in 1040, attempting to centralize his power by crushing the province's independence. The invasion failed. Duncan was killed in action by Macbeth's troops near Elgin. At the time, killing a rival in open battle was a legitimate and accepted method of succession. Macbeth took the throne with little opposition. 17 years later, the conflict came full circle. Duncan's son, Malcolm III, returned with an English army and defeated Macbeth at the Battle of Lungfonnin. Macbeth's rise and fall followed the standard patterns of medieval power. The legendary villainy we associate with him today was a deliberate, posthumous invention by the dynasty that replaced him. To legitimize their rule, Malcolm's descendants needed to frame the defeated Macbeth as an illegitimate usurper. Chroniclers like John of Fordun and Andrew of Wintoun began injecting mythical elements into the records. They used stories like the moving wood of Burnham to justify the triumph of the new dynasty as a fated moral necessity. In 1527, Hector Boece took this further. He wrote a history of Scotland designed to flatter his patrons, the House of Stuart. Boece invented a noble, fictional ancestor for the Stuarts named Banquo. By creating this hero, he had to make Macbeth a darker, more supernatural villain to act as a foil. By the 1600s, 5 centuries of textual revision had displaced the historical record. The stage was set for a playwright looking to impress a new king. In 1606, William Shakespeare used these altered chronicles as his primary source. He was writing to please his royal patron, King James I, the first Stuart king of England. James was haunted by the recent gunpowder plot. His court was a place of extreme paranoia regarding regicide and secret Catholic conspiracies. Shakespeare focused on these anxieties. He introduced demonic witches to the story because James was personally obsessed with witchcraft, even writing his own book on how to hunt them. The play reflects the political tensions of 17th century London, not 11th century Scotland. Macbeth was transformed into a monster to satisfy the fears of a sitting king. Macbeth's death marked the end of the Murray kings and the start of a fundamental shift in the Scottish identity. Malcolm's reign brought an influx of English monks and the adoption of southern feudal customs. Over several generations, the traditional Celtic culture that Macbeth represented was marginalized and replaced. This makes the silence of Iona Abbey particularly striking. Macbeth was buried here, among the last of the early Scottish kings, a resting place reserved for legitimate rulers. The version of Macbeth that survived was the one designed to please a royal audience. His real life was erased, proving that while history is written by the victors, the stories that last are written to flatter a patron. Of legendary tactics and hidden histories, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Mythic Keep.